Have you ever wondered what it costs to live in one of the top cities here in the U.S. in 2024? Well, the city I'm going to talk about today has some great quality of life, some amazing education, and that city is Ann Arbor, Michigan. So in today's video, we're taking a look at the cost of living in this beautiful city, and I'm going to be breaking down the factors like housing, utilities, groceries, property taxes, and at the end of the video, I'm actually going to be breaking down how much you need to make annually to afford the median home cost here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So stick around. And hey, if we're meeting here for the first time, my name is Eric Meldrum. I'm a realtor with True Living Group, and I make videos that are all things Ann Arbor and Metro Detroit. Show you guys what it's like to live, eat, sleep, breathe, and play here. And if you are considering to move here in 1 month or 1 year from now, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is in the description below, and be happy to help you. Now, if you do like this video, give it a thumbs up and lets YouTube know I'm doing a great job. And don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell so you're notified every time I come out with a new video just like this. And now let's dive into Ann Arbor, Michigan. All right, so why are people choosing to move to Ann Arbor in the first place? I think this is good context for the discussion about cost of living, because you're going to see some things in the cost of living that, may be a lot different from where you're at today. But I think it's really important to note why people are moving here and what the economy actually looks like. So number one, people are coming here because Ann Arbor has been ranked one of the best places to raise a family, one of the best places to retire, one of the best places to live in all of the United States, and it just, the list goes on and on and on, depending on what news article you are looking at. But there's no doubt that Ann Arbor has definitely become an attractive place to live. Now, over the years, that has shown in real estate prices, in a lot of the competitiveness and just affordability of Ann Arbor, which again, I'll get to, but it's really important to know why so many people love living here. And one of those reasons is the opportunity that's here in the job market. The University of Michigan, we have hospital systems, we have a lot of tech companies, we're tied in with the automotive. There's a lot of technology and a lot of high paying jobs here in Ann Arbor. So that's a really good piece of information to just note about the economy and the job market. Now, when it comes to lifestyle, Ann Arbor is a fantastic place to live. There's trails, parks, streams, rivers, outdoors, biking trails, hiking trails, like all of the things that you would want if you're an outdoor enthusiast. Those exist here in the Ann Arbor area. And lastly, with the education opportunities here, Ann Arbor has some of the best schools in Southeast Michigan. They're top rated. And then we also have the University of Michigan, which is world renowned for their academics and of course their sports teams, which the football team just won the Natty last year. If you've been following college football, Michigan secured the national championship in 2023, and that was a big year for us. And it's for those reasons that Ann Arbor continues to be one of the top places to live here in Southeast Michigan. We get a lot of reach outs for people moving to the Metro Detroit area and Ann Arbor, and I can assure you that Ann Arbor is coming in droves. People are looking to move primarily for the schools, quality of life, access to highways, access to bike trails, all the things I just mentioned. But with that, a lot of popularity comes concerns about the housing market, and rightfully so. When it comes to the housing costs, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Ann Arbor is one of the more expensive places to live here in Southeast Michigan. So really, how much more expensive is it? So if you're looking for a single family home as of August 2024, the median home value is $647,000. And if you are actively looking for a home, it's important to note that the days on market is 38 days, which means it's taking 38 days for homes to sell in this market. And if you're looking for a condo or townhome here in Ann Arbor, the average cost is going to run you $316,000. Now, the average days on market is a little bit lower on that. It's 31 days. Now, just because the cost of a single family home is $647,000, I don't want you to feel discouraged. There's a lot of different factors that go into your home search, such as the size of the home, the condition of the home, the location, neighborhood to neighborhood. We're going to have different price ranges and different price brackets that you're going to fall into. So you just got to really kind of look at what's important to you. And this is one of the most key parts that we do on our consultations when you book a Zoom call with us, is we go through all of these things. Lifestyle is something we really focus on. Do you need to be close to downtown? Are you looking for something a little bit outside of the city? What school system are you looking in? Dexter, Saline, Ann Arbor, all those things can have a major impact on what you would consider the right home for you, than maybe just looking at the stats and saying, well, that seems pretty high. But trust me, there's a lot of different options out there, ranging from $400,000 on up. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about the cost of utilities here in Ann Arbor. Now, this is going to be your gas, electric, cable, internet, water bill. And most people say this is no different than where they originally came from. A lot of similar costs. Gas, electric are going to be pretty similar. You might not have a water bill where you are. Maybe you're on a septic right now, but in the city of Ann Arbor, you do have a water bill. And I certainly haven't heard a whole lot of people complaining that gas, electric, utilities are really high here in Ann Arbor. Do I wish they were cheaper? I think we all do. Wish they were free, but it's not the world we live in. But in terms of, average cost, around $200 to $300 for gas and electric. And for cable and internet, if you're looking to just do the basic, we pay around $100 a month just for like some really good fiber optic internet. It can maybe be a little bit lower, maybe be a little bit higher, depending on where you're at, who your provider is. We have Comcast in the area. We have Spectrum. We have AT&T. Those tend to be the most like major internet providers. But when it comes to, your package, if you want cable, you want phone, internet, obviously those are going to be a cost plus, but we just do streaming services, Hulu, Netflix, Disney, and I'm sure 5 more that we don't need to be paying for that we probably have on our subscriptions. All right, so next up, I want to talk about the cost of groceries. And I got a question for you. Have you actually itemized your grocery list and see what the cost of eggs are, milk, bread, like a lot of the staple foods that you buy on a regular basis, and compared that to a year ago? I did this about 4 months ago and I was shocked. All right, so I'm assuming you'd be shocked as well. It's one of those things that we just have to buy food. So even though we feel like we're spending more money, I never really looked at it. I did it for another video 4 months ago, and I did it again today when I was shooting this to see exactly how much we're actually paying for things. And I every time I look at it, I don't want to look at it anymore. It's just enough for me to go, wow, okay, that sucks, and then get it out of my mind, right? But it's a good exercise because it really puts things into perspective for me, and it gives me some context for how much we're paying on a monthly basis. And that's really the macro of what I'm looking at. We eat primarily organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised. We really look at labels. We're trying to eat very clean and put wholesome foods into our bodies. So if you are somebody that is really kind of like that or like me, just know that that food is readily available here in Ann Arbor. There's 2 Whole Foods here. There's a Trader Joe's. We got Kroger, Meijer, Target, Plum Market, the Farmers Market on the weekend. So you got a lot of local grocery stores. You got some national chains and some local produce that are coming in from farmers as well. So one of the things I also looked at was, what does the USDA actually consider a food budget for a family of 4 here in the United States? And I found this very ironic. So I'm just going to read it to you. It says the monthly cost of food for a family of 4 is between $567 and $1,296 a month. This is equivalent to around $130 to $300 per week. Now, I do know a lot of families that are spending just that. But I do know a lot of families who look at the ingredients, look at the type of foods that they're buying, and these are highly processed foods. A lot of foods that we don't really know what the ingredients are in them. And this is not a video to really tell you to shop one way or the other. But for me, if I'm eating organic and grass-fed, pasture-raised, really clean labels, our budget's closer to $2,000 a month. It's about $700 to $800 more than the top line budget that the USDA considers a food cost for a family of 4. Now, I found that absolutely staggering. And I know a lot of other families are feeling the same way when they go to the store and they're trying to buy clean, clean vegetables, clean fruits, just wholesome foods. Again, so if you're following the USDA guidelines, your food budget should be somewhere around $567 to $1,296 a month. But if you're eating a little bit cleaner, I would say closer to around $2,000 a month for a family of 4. All right, so next up, we're talking about property taxes, and this is a big one. I want you to pay special attention to this, because property taxes can have a significant impact on how much you can afford or how much your mortgage payment is every single month. When it comes to the property taxes, if you do a search online, you'll actually find that the average property tax in Michigan is around 1.8% of your home value. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to break down in this section of the video because, we do have something called a capped property tax. So if you are looking at homes online, you may see the property taxes at a certain value, but when that property sells, there's an uncapped property tax that's actually going to reset. So I'm going to give you some examples here, but in Ann Arbor, the average cost of property taxes is closer to 2.5% for homesteaded taxes. And if you're non-homestead, meaning you bought a home, you're renting it out, or maybe this is your secondary home, property taxes are actually going to be closer to 3.3% of your home's value. Now, the nice thing is when you buy a property in Ann Arbor, well, the whole state of Michigan in this example. So where does the capped property taxes and uncapped property taxes come into play? Well, let me give you an example. Say you buy a home today, you are going to be at the uncapped property tax. You're basically going to reset at your home's SEV or state equalized value, and you're going to be reassessed a new tax value for that home in the coming year. Now, every single year that you own it, there is a cap on how much that municipality can raise your property taxes. In Ann Arbor, that capped property tax is 5%. Okay, so if they have a millage increase that comes out and, for example, puts your property taxes to say 7 or 8% of the increase, you are only going to realize that 5% on that capped property tax. So you can't go above 5% increase year over year. So it's a good piece of information for planning purposes, but every single year you're going to see a slight increase just depending on whether they're putting new millage in or things like that. And if you're wondering how much property taxes would actually cost, I want to give you an example using the median house value. So we're just going to round up to $650,000 for this example. And in the city of Ann Arbor, if you're homesteading this property, meaning this is your primary residence, and you have a $650,000 home at a 2.5% property tax, then your taxes will be $16,826 a year. If you bought that same property and you are non-homestead, meaning maybe it's a rental, it's an investment, or a secondary home, you are actually going to realize a 3.3% property tax value, and the taxes are going to be $21,880 per year. Now, I also want to turn you on to a little secret, and you can thank me later for this, but the property taxes in townships are actually lower than the city. The number I just gave you was in the city of Ann Arbor. Now, if you're in the township, which could still be Ann Arbor schools, you're going to pay a little bit less. So I'm using Superior Township in this example. If you are buying that same home, $650K, and you are homesteading those taxes, the property tax is actually going to be 1.99% of the home's value, or $12,974 per year. Now, if you're using it as a rental or a secondary home and non-homestead, you're going to be at 2.7% tax value for the property taxes, and that's going to be $17,978 per year in taxes. So you can see it's almost 0.5% cheaper in Superior Township than it is in the city for homesteaded taxes. And of course, I'm always curious, is that high or low comparative to where you live today? Drop it in the comments below and let me know if you think those taxes are high or actually cheaper than where you're living. Now, in the beginning of this video, I told you I was going to break down how much you need to make in order to afford the median home value here in Ann Arbor. Now, I want to start with the average household income, which is $78,000 annually for a household here in Ann Arbor. Now, this may sound like a lot or maybe a little compared to what you're making today and how you're getting by. So drop it in the comments below. Do you think $78,000 is enough to live here in the United States, let alone Ann Arbor? And for a general rule of thumb, we're going to use the 28-36 rule. Now, the 28-36 rule means that no more than 28% of your household income should be spent on housing, and no more than 36% of your household income should be spent on all debts going out. So what is your monthly payment going to be if you're buying a house that's $650,000? Well, that equates to $4,879 per month, and that figure does include taxes and insurance. Now, the way we're going to figure that out is we're going to take that $4,879 and we're going to divide it by 28%. Now, we're going to get $17,425. Now, this is your gross income. This is your pre-tax income every single month. And we're going to take that, we're going to multiply that by 12, and that's going to give us a yearly income of $209,000. So in order to afford a $650,000 home here in Ann Arbor, as a household, you need to be bringing in gross $209,000 annually. And because my brain just works this way, I'm always curious. I wanted to know how many households actually in Ann Arbor make more than $200,000 per year. There are 53,000 households in Ann Arbor. Now, out of those 53,000, there is 8,200 homes, or put otherwise, 16% of all households in Ann Arbor can afford a $650,000 home or more. Or if you're better at percentages, that is 16% of all households make more than $200K plus every single year. And I'm always curious where you're living now. Are these costs of living here in Ann Arbor higher, lower, pretty much the same where you're living? Drop those in the comments below. I'd love to know. And if you are local here to the Ann Arbor area and you want to add anything to this video, feel free to drop those in the comments as well. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you got any value out of this video whatsoever, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing and tapping that bell so you're the first to learn about everything here in Ann Arbor and Metro Detroit. And if you are moving in 1 month or 1 year from now, do not hesitate to get a hold of us. It's never too early to start getting your game plan together for your move. We have resources that we can introduce you to, lenders, stagers, movers, anybody that is part of the home selling or buying process. We'd be happy to introduce you to them. So make sure you give us a call. All my contact information is in the description below, and make sure you stick around for the next video that's coming up. We'll see you on the next one.